As you stepped into the house, you were immediately surrounded by an unsettling atmosphere. The floorboards creaked beneath your feet with each cautious step, echoing through the dimly lit corridors. Strange and eerie noises seemed to come from every direction, like whispers in the shadows. The wind outside howled, and you could hear it whistling through the cracked windows, creating an eerie melody. The house itself seemed to groan, as if it was burdened with a dark history, its very walls holding the weight of untold secrets. From somewhere deep within the house, you heard mysterious, unexplained sounds, distant footsteps, eerie laughter, and the occasional jarring bang that sent shivers down your spine. It was as if the house itself was alive with a sinister presence, and it was playing tricks on your senses. Every corner you turned, every room you entered, brought with it a new wave of horror sounds. It was a relentless assault on your senses, and you couldn't help but wonder if you were truly alone in this forsaken place. Your heart raced, and you knew that surviving the night would be no small feat. Allow me to introduce you to Smith, a traveler from a distant village. It was getting late, and as the night fell, he found himself in an unfamiliar village. Smith had no choice but to seek shelter for the night. The problem was, as he wandered through the village's empty streets, he noticed that there was not a soul in sight. Desperation pushed him to continue his search, and after what felt like an eternity, he stumbled upon an old, decrepit house. With no other options, Smith cautiously entered the house, not knowing what to expect. As soon as he crossed the threshold, a shiver ran down his spine. The air was thick with an eerie silence, broken only by the unsettling noises that surrounded him. Smith couldn't help but listen closely to the spine-chilling sounds that seemed to be coming from every corner of the house. It was as though the very walls held secrets he couldn't comprehend. In the pitch-black night, Smith found himself trapped in a house filled with inexplicable sounds, mysterious footsteps, ghostly laughter, and sudden, hair-raising bangs that made him jump. The more he explored, the more he felt a sense of dread closing in around him. Smith's heart raced as he navigated through this terrifying ordeal, all alone in a village he didn't know and inside a house that appeared to be harboring unspeakable horrors. Little did he know that surviving the night in this house would be his greatest challenge yet. Smith, startled and unnerved by the eerie sounds, continued his exploration of the house. In one room, he came across an old man, who appeared frail and disoriented. Smith cautiously approached the man and attempted to strike up a conversation, but as Smith spoke, the old man's eyes seemed to glaze over, and without warning, he vanished into thin air. Smith was left standing there, utterly bewildered and terrified. With his heart pounding, Smith decided it was time to leave this haunted house. As he approached the gate, he reached out to open it. However, just as his hand touched the gate, it swung shut on its own with a spine-chilling creak. A ghostly, whispering voice echoed in the darkness. It was a woman's voice, but it held a sinister, otherworldly quality. She said, "Don't go, If you try to leave, I will end you. Smith was frozen in fear, unable to move, as the ghostly voice continued to threaten him. He was now trapped in the clutches of a malevolent force, unsure of how to escape this nightmarish ordeal in the horror house. As Smith stood there, paralyzed by fear, the voice of the old man called out to him, "Are you Smith, the son of Thompson?" Smith's heart stopped as if frozen in time, and he didn't know how to respond. He finally managed to stammer, "Yes, I am Smith." "But how do you know me?" The old man's ghostly presence seemed to grow more somber as he explained, "I know everything about you and your father, Thompson. I've been waiting for you for the last 25 years. You see, I met with a tragic accident, and it was your father who was driving the car." Smith's eyes widened in shock, and his mind raced to comprehend the weight of these words. The old man continued, "I've been lingering in the afterlife, unable to rest, waiting to see you because I couldn't in life." Smith, his voice trembling, asked, "Why have you been waiting for me all this time?" The old man replied, "I needed to tell you something, to ask for forgiveness, and to bring closure to the past. I've watched over you and your father, and now the time has come for our paths to cross. There are secrets and unfinished business that must be addressed before I can find peace." Smith was now torn between fear and a sense of duty. He felt compelled to listen to the old man's story, to unravel the mysteries of the past, and to find out what lay ahead in this unsettling encounter within the confines of the horror house. As Smith grappled with the revelation from the old man, a woman's voice suddenly rose from the shadows. "Smith, I am your bride," she whispered. "Your father promised me to my uncle when we were young. We were meant to be married, Smith, and my name is Jany." Smith's mind reeled from this unexpected revelation. He had never known of this commitment, and the news of this unfulfilled promise sent a chill down his spine. Jany continued, "My death remains a mystery to this day. Nobody knows whether I am alive or dead, but I can tell you what happened. Two thieves broke into my home, and in their recklessness, they set fire to the place. It was in that moment that I perished," with a sense of melancholy in her voice. Jany explained further, "My body lies in a storeroom within this very house. There's a box that holds my remains, and you are the one who needs to perform my last farewell." Smith was overwhelmed by the weight of these revelations. The horror house held not only eerie secrets but also a tragic tale of love and unfulfilled promises. Now, he was faced with a daunting task: to find Jany's remains, honor her memory, and perhaps bring closure to this unsettling chapter of the horror house story. In the midst of this eerie encounter, Smith's mind wandered back to the days of his childhood. He remembered the times when he and Jany played games together, attended school side by side, and in the evenings, they would sit in the garden, dreaming of their futures. Jany had always aspired to become a doctor, and Smith had dreamt of being a traveler, Tears welled up in Smith's eyes as he whispered, "For you, Jany." Suddenly, a distant memory resurfaced. Smith recalled a chance encounter during one of his travels to the Netherlands. He met someone who told him a strange and unbelievable story, a story that he had dismissed as mere folklore at the time. Now, in the chilling reality of the horror house, Smith began to realize that there was more truth to that story than he had ever imagined. Smith turned to the unseen presence of Jany and said, "I'm so sorry, Jany. It has been so many years, and I haven't come here." His heart ached with regret, as he understood that he had neglected the promises of their shared past. Now, he faced an extraordinary task: to fulfill the promise he had made to Jany, to give her the farewell she deserved, and to unravel the mysteries that had haunted the horror house for so long. As Smith and Jany shared their heartfelt conversation within the haunting confines of the horror house, Smith couldn't hold back his emotions any longer. He finally confessed, "Do you know, Jany, I've loved you ever since we were children. It's just that I never expected you to be gone." Jany, with a serene wisdom in her voice, replied, "That's a part of the world, Smith. One day, all people must meet God. I've been waiting for you for so many years, but now, my time has come to end this lingering existence. I'll be on my way to meet God, and I'll pray for you." With a mixture of sorrow and love, Jany continued, "Live your life happily, and find someone who cares for you and loves you just as I have. Marry her, and remember, when I look down from heaven, I'll be smiling. Goodbye, Smith." "I love you." Overwhelmed with emotion, Smith responded, "I love you too, Jany. I'll always miss you so much." In that profound moment, Smith made a life-altering decision. He chose to make this village his permanent home, just as he had promised Jany. He resolved to find a girl who resembled Jany in her kindness and love, and he would marry her, dedicating his life to keeping the memory of Jany alive in his heart and in the village they both once called home.